It just turned 8. Good Tuesday morning to you all. Welcome to the House Full Transportation Committee for March 19th, 2024. It's now in session. We'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Representatives Burkhart, Butler, Camper, Carr, Cochran, Darby, Davis, Glenn, Grills, Harris, Hazelwood, Marsh, Martin, Pearson, Powell, Powers, Rudd, Russell, Sherrill, Towns, Whitson, Wright, Vice Chairman Vital, Chairman Howell. Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Clerk. Any questions, personal orders, announcements from committee members? Seeing none, I hope everyone's had a biscuit or at least a cup of coffee. We're all wide awake and ready to go for this, our final House committee meeting for the 113th General Assembly. Drawing to a close. We do have a calendar. We have 8 items on this calendar. So if there are no announcements, without objection, we'll begin our calendar. And number 1 on the calendar is our illustrious leader. Leader Lamberth, you are recognized on number 1, House Bill 2642, sir. You have a motion and a second, and I believe we need to adopt the amendment that came out of subcommittee. That's 15858.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Motion second on the amendment. All in favor of adding the amendment, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Your amendment is added. Please explain your bill, Mr. Leader.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. If I may, I have 2 special guests with me today as well. If you guys can stand up. That's my daughter, Allison, and my little boy, Pierce there. Please make them feel welcome.
Did they bring any eggs with them?
No, not today. I asked her yesterday to get a few eggs ready. We didn't bring any fresh eggs today, but maybe tomorrow, Mr. Chairman. So this bill is very straightforward at this juncture. All it does is to protect the property right of those that are licensed for transportainment in the state. So if a city issues a license to someone to have a pedal tavern, a bus, or whatever else in any city in this state, they can't just take that away without due process, without good cause shown. These are small business owners. These are not big businesses by and large. They invest their hard-earned dollars. Many will mortgage their home in order to be able to expand a small business. And when you invite that into a city and give that license out, you can't just take it away. So it has to be with good cause, or if they have not utilized the license for 6 months. I will say that it is the legislative intent of this for that 6 months to start after this bill actually becomes law. The amendment is silent on that, but we're not trying to do something going backwards. This is just going forwards.
You've heard the explanation, members. Any questions or comments? Representative Powell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, as you know, there are a lot of these in Nashville that operate, and the city has been trying to regulate that. Is this in any way going to interfere with the city's ability to regulate the industry?
You're recognized.
Now, every city in the state can still regulate that industry, and that's fine. The original bill would have shifted that over to the state for regulation. This is a kind of a budding industry within the state. I don't know if Chattanooga or Memphis or Knoxville will have several of these down the road. I think they have a couple in some of those cities. But it's a fun way for folks to safely be able to navigate a city they may not be familiar with. But it leaves the entire regulation with the city. It just protects that property interest and says, look, if you're going to regulate, if you're going to license, just be careful when you're issuing a license to someone, because there may be a small business owner that's leveraging everything they've got on the chance that one of these may take off and do well. So you can't just take that license away without good cause.
Representative Pearson.
Thanks, Chairman, and thank you, sponsor, for the explanation of the new amendment on the bill. If a local government creates a new law to regulate these next week, next month, or something like that, would all of the folks who have a license currently still have to abide by that regulation, with the expectation that if they don't, they would, after 6 months or so, possibly lose their license?
You're recognized.
So it doesn't keep them from making new regulations. I like where you're headed with that. I will say that I would hope that those regulations would not be overly burdensome. There was another amendment that we had considered at one point, trying to say, look, you can't just take somebody's license for the first time they stub a toe. Again, this is something I think we should watch very carefully, because, for some minor violation or something, I would hope that we wouldn't have a city in this state that would, again, just take somebody's entire livelihood over one little tiny error. This is silent to that. So if a city wanted to put whatever regulation they want to out there, even if it was ridiculous, they definitely still have the authority to do so. We've left that in their hands.
Thank you, Chairman.
Chairman Whitson.
Thank you. And our intent with the amendment we put on is to make sure the city does not arbitrarily reduce it from, say, 70 to 30. We feel like that this amendment accomplishes that.
You're recognized.
Yes, I believe so. And again, so that no city would arbitrarily reduce their numbers. If a city is issuing these permits anywhere in the state, then again, they should issue the number of permits that they feel like are justified for their city, and then not reduce that down arbitrarily. As you said, it can only be a license to be taken away with good cause, or if they don't use it for 6 months.
And we view this as a grandfathering amendment. Chairman, when you if I could ask, we consider this as grandfathers the current.
I believe that was the intent, yes.
Yeah, that was our intent, to grandfather the current class.
Chair Lady Hazelwood.
Thank you. Just a clarification, I think I understand what you're saying about the 6 months and the legislative intent. That is on the unused license. If those licenses are dormant, the clock on that would start when the bill is signed versus when the license was issued. Is that what we're saying our intent is?
You're recognized.
So I had a late filed amendment, and again, we're not taking that up today, that would have made that crystal clear and said it's from the point time when this act takes effect and forward. This is silent. It just says includes the disuse or dormancy of a permit for a period of 6 months or longer prior to the government entity taking action to revoke the permit. So it is definitely the intent of this bill that it would be 6 months from the time that this law takes in effect. We just haven't written it down in there.
Follow up.
And the 6 months provision just relates to the dormant license. It doesn't address
Yes.
any other part of the bill. Am I correct?
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am, Madam Chairman. That is just, if you're not using it, you lose it, so to speak. So we don't want licenses out there, because quite frankly, you may have a city that at some juncture says, well, we only want to issue 15 licenses for our entire city. If it's a city that doesn't have quite a few of these already, they may say they only want to issue 15. Well, if 5 of those are not being used, then that's quite frankly taking up licenses that someone else could utilize and actually be using that as a business instead of just sitting on the license.
Representative Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the sponsor. My question relates to some businesses are seasonal. So if they're only operating for a certain period of time, would they then qualify as a dormant license? Because, obviously our weather here is not, it changes so frequently, but, and if you have horses or if you have other, it could potentially impact that. So does that does the language speak to that, or?
You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we felt like 6 months is plenty of time. I mean, our winters are not ridiculously long here, and so usually wouldn't have more than a 6-month time period where someone would not be utilizing that license. And to be clear, we're not saying that a city has to take someone's license after 6 months. So I would hope that they would continue to work with those business owners and say, hey, look, we noticed you hadn't utilized yours for 6 months. You know, what's going on? Is there a special circumstance or something else? So we're not requiring them to take it after 6 months. We're just saying that the city can revoke that license after 6 months, but no sooner than that.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we're voting on House Bill 2642. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Your bill goes to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. We're
Thank
going to head outside and visit Ag Day. It
Go
looked like
get
it
a
was pretty
biscuit.
neat.
Bring us a biscuit. Moving on to item number 2, House Bill 1015 by Chairman Faison. We have a motion and a second. Sir, do you have an amendment?
I do, yes, sir.
All right. What is the drafting code that you have?
14606.
We're going to put this amendment on the bill. All in favor of adding this amendment, say aye. We need a motion and a second. I'm sorry, I have a motion and a second. Now we're going to vote. Say aye. All opposed, nay. Amendment's on the bill, sir. You're recognized.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, committee. So good to be with you all. And if you pass these 2 bills, I will bring you a biscuit. So we have seen the news over the last 2 years about guns that have been stolen from cars. A lot of bills brought up. I worked with a bill last year. What can we do to address it? About a month ago, a friend of mine that actually owns an impound lot right here in Nashville came to my office and said, Jeremy, it's not made it to the news yet, but there are an unbelievable amount of guns that are stolen from cars that have been impounded. And it kind of shocked me. And so I talked to the Department of Safety, and in fact, there are a lot of guns that are taken out of impound lots. They come over the fence, go and break cars, break in and take guns. He said the law does not give us any ability, if we see a gun, to be able to remove a gun and store it safely. So all this bill does is make it to where they have immunity, that they're allowed to, if they see a gun, they can take it and store it if they want to. It doesn't demand that an impound lot does this, but it gives them the ability to take that gun, put it in a safe and secure space until said owner comes and gets the car and the gun. And I've been told by several people that work in impound lots, this would help greatly keeping guns off of the street because it comes from there often.
Members, you've heard the explanation. Any questions for the sponsor? See, Representative Glenn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What happens to that gun if they never come get it? What is the business owner option if they never come pick it up?
You recognize?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We'll have to defer to legal on that.
We'll go out of session. We're out of session. We'll defer to legal.
Joel Hayes, Office of Legal Services. Representative Glenn, the bill is silent as to how unclaimed property is to be disposed of, but it would be consistent with, I guess, how unclaimed property is currently disposed of. And maybe provisions regarding contacting local law enforcement with turning in firearms. There may be programs along those lines, but the legislation is silent as to that.
Any other questions for legal? Back in session. Mr. Chairman, you're recognized.
Question on the bill?
We have question on the bill. Without objection, we're voting on House Bill 1015. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Your bill goes to calendar and rules, sir. First time I've had a sponsor call question on his own bill. We're going to move on to item number 3. We have House Bill 2729, also by Chairman Faison, and you have a motion and a second, sir. Do we have an amendment? No, we do not.
Yes, sir.
You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning again, committee. Good morning, Mr. Chair. Very good to be with you. Let me give you a little background. The driver's license are revoked for DUIs for the first year for the first offense. The revocation of a person's license is treated a bit differently than other forms of license revocation. To be clear, this bill does not affect DUI laws in any way. The This only affects a person who has been convicted of a DUI, served their entire sentence in its entirety, and is caught driving on a revoked license that is due to a DUI. Under current law, if a person's pulled over and found to be driving on a revoked license due to a DUI, the person must do a mandatory minimum of 48 hours, up to 6 months in jail, and can face the fine of up to $1,000, even if the revocation period is actually over. The 40 hours in jail is required, even if the person convicted of the DUI completed every requirement of their sentence except paying to have their license reinstated. Due to the $65 reinstatement fee paid to the Department of Safety and court costs associated with the DUI, individuals may not be able to afford to have their driver's license reinstated. Therefore, it remains on revoked status. For a second or subsequent offense, the mandatory minimum is 45 days up to a year in jail and can face a fine of up to $3,000. All this bill does is remove the mandatory minimum sentence and give the judge sentencing discretion in cases regarding a person convicted of driving on a revoked license due to a DUI, and that person has served all of their DUI sentence.
You heard the explanation, and I understand safety is deferred on this. Is that right, Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Okay, safety is deferred. Any questions, comments for the sponsor? Representative Towns.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Sounds like what we're doing is considering the financial responsibility, the debt of it being incarcerated has been paid, but the financial responsibility where they are a little weak on. And so what you're doing is allowing them to have a little bit more time to pay the money and possibly keep the jobs and some other things. I think it's a good idea. Okay.
You recognize?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Towns, that is correct. This is only for the occasion where a person who had a DUI has paid all of their debt to society,
Right.
except for the fees.
Right.
And this is more than a year out. They don't have the money. They haven't got that money yet. This doesn't say that they won't serve the 45 days to 6 months.
Right.
It just gives the judge leeway to say, you know what, there's a mandatory on that.
Right.
We're not going to have the mandatory today. It gives the judge some latitude.
Right.
If they see that there's some issues that maybe this would cause a person to lose their job.
Right. Right.
Any other questions?
I'd like to sign on to the bill, man.
Seeing none, we'll be voting on without objection House Bill 2729. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Your bill goes to Finance, Chairman. Thank you. Moving on to item number 4 by Chairman Kiesling. Welcome to Transportation, sir. We have a motion on the bill. Have a second?
Thank
A motion and a
Thank you,
second on the
Mr. Chairman.
bill.
And I do have an amendment, sir,
What is your
coming out of
drafting
sub,
code?
and that was 14170.
That's the one I have. We're going to, without objection, vote on the amendment. All in
All
favor,
right.
say aye. We have a motion, second, and a vote all at the same time. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. The amendment is on the bill. Please explain, Chairman.
I'll try to make that attempt. Members, this came to us from our Tennessee Marinas Association with guidance from TWRA. Now, in 22, we passed legislation that set up a grant program for our marinas to address public infrastructure cost, which has been administered by, or which is administered through the TWRA. The grant, it's a grant program and it receives funds, a portion from the gasoline tax revenue and sends it to the Wildlife Resources Fund for distribution. That percentage, to be exact, is 0.35%. But members, our marinas, and again, this is statewide. There were, I think, 66 marinas that began this grant process or wanted to participate in it. But our marinas have really been facing a real problem with infrastructure, ingress, egress, their parking lots, and so on and so forth. This is a way for them to help fund and repair and to address these needs. Over in the Senate, it recently passed, just to FYI, over in the Senate, it passed 30-0. So it's sitting here on the House desk. So with that, Chairman.
Question has been called. We have a second. Without objection, we're voting on the bill. All in favor of 2095, say aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Your bill goes to count and rules, Chairman.
Chairman, I cannot leave without saying this will be the last time that I'll be in front of you all.
We have an objection. Do we have to vote on that?
This session, no. But anyway, it's been a pleasure. Thank you all for your service. Appreciate you serving very well, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Always good to see you in front of this committee. Item number 5, Bill 141 by Representative Alexander. You're recognized, lady. We have a motion and a second, and I believe we also have an amendment. Is that right?
That is correct.
What is your drafting code?
014736.
Do we have a motion, a second on the amendment? Let's add the amendment to the bill. Without objection, we're voting. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. The amendment's on the bill. We're back on the bill. Please explain.
If you drive down I-26 and you head towards my town of Johnson City and Jonesboro, you'll come to I-26 heading south. And there is a sign there that already has East Tennessee State University on it. Milligan University would like their name added also to that sign so that they can direct people to all their sporting events and all the things. If you go on I-26 and you get off the exit for ETSU, you turn left and you go to ETSU, and you turn right and you go to Milligan University. So they're the same distance, pretty much within a mile of each other. And so we would just like to have Milligan University added to that sign as well.
Very good. You heard the explanation. Sounds like a reasonable request to me. Question has been called. All in favor of this bill, say aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Your bill goes to count and rules,
Thank you,
Representative.
Chairman. Thank you, committee.
Thank you. We are down to item number 6, House Bill 2062 by Representative Sparks. We have a motion and second on your bill. Do we have an amendment, sir?
If there is, it's
I don't believe we do, do we?
01179. Don't you have?
I don't have an amendment, sir.
Okay.
That must be your bill number.
That's just the bill. Okay.
So I don't have an
can't.
amendment, so we have a motion second on your bill. Please explain the bill.
Members, it was March 7th, 2023, that a young Army medic, Jake Barnhart, was on his way to pick up his kids when he was struck and killed by an illegal street racer doing 100 miles an hour. Jake lost his life, and what House Bill 2062 is to create a street racing task force. And I believe we have some testimony here. The widow of Jake Barnhart, if you have her on the list, I'd like.
I do. Would you like to
speak.
do that now,
If we
Chairman?
could, yes, sir.
All right. Without objection, we're going out of session. We'll ask Miss Katie Castle to come forward and take your place there at the table, if you would. Representative Sparks should make sure her microphone is on. Ms. Castle, if you please, for the record, give us your name
Good morning. My name is Katie Castle.
and please tell us your story.
I am here. Good morning. Thank you for your time and your support this morning. I am here to essentially personify and just kind of represent Jake in his honor and his legacy. Like Representative Sparks mentioned, Jake was an Army medic. He served 15 years. He did most of his time as a Special Forces medic. His job was to serve and to protect. He was our protector in our family. He took care of all of us. He was always the one that we turned to for everything. And it is my goal to use his legacy and his honor to continue to protect the citizens of the state. Street racing has gotten out of control. Much like a firearm, a vehicle is a weapon when inappropriately and outrageously utilized in an irresponsible manner. And as you can see by the loss that we suffered from Jake, this is what happens when we don't correctly police up these issues.
Yes.
Thank you for coming and telling us your story. I know this is difficult for you. Any questions for our witness from the committee? Representative Powell.
I just want to thank you for being here. I know you've got to know one of my constituents very well, Mr. Jeff Sexton, who,
Yes,
and Representative Sparks and I have been working on this issue thoroughly to try to address it. as we continue to see, you know, in our communities impacted by this, and not just on major roads, but oftentimes in you know, neighborhoods, and I see this constantly in my community, and I'm hopeful that something can be done. But I just really appreciate you being here, and hopefully with this legislation, in Jake's honor and others who have lost their lives, you know, we can save a lot more lives and bring attention to this issue. And I do want to also thank the Tennessee Highway Patrol, and for their leadership. We've met with them numerous times, and you know, but it's going to take a comprehensive statewide approach to deal with this issue. So, as you mentioned, this doesn't just affect your community, but across the state, it's become a problem. So, I just want to thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank you too for being here and sharing your story with us and sharing Jake with us too. I served in the Army for 21 years, so I understand what it means for family to sacrifice when our loved one is, you know, away serving and protecting. So I really appreciate and thank him for his service to our country. I had a friend who was in a similar situation, but he was in ICU for awful long time trying to recover, and we didn't think he'd make it, but to God be the glory, he did. But I think that person was going about 101 or something like that too, and he was struck by that car, you know, and fortunately he was you know, able to make it. So thank you for supporting this, for being here and testifying. Thank you, Representative, for bringing the bill, and prayerfully we can get something done in our state about this.
Thank you.
Representative Towns.
Well, thank you as well. Unfortunately, this is all over the place. One of my high school buddies and college buddy recently had the same horrifying experience where this driver hit him, and it was so violent that the motor was out of the car, the bumper was on the inside of the windshield, and he actually was airlifted in the hospital, died twice, but by the grace of God, he was able to come back this way. And the fascinating thing is the other guy didn't get hurt.
Same.
It blows my mind. Did not get hurt with that kind of impact. So hopefully these kinds of things do something. I wish they I wish they really couldn't drive anymore. And you see them on the highway, they zoom up behind you. I mean, it's fast. It's fast. It's scary. And if you move, you may, you know, meet your own demise. So you kind of just grit and stay there. But for you, I hope your family's doing well. And thank you for your courage to be able to testify. And it's just unfortunate to have to see you under these circumstances. But thank you for your courage.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Any other questions for Ms. Castle? Seeing none, thank you for coming. It means a lot for you to show up and be an advocate for this bill. Appreciate it so much. We're going to go back into session. Any questions for the sponsor? Question has been called on the bill. Without objection, we're voting on House Bill 2062. All in favor? Aye, please. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Your bill goes to Finance.
Thank you. Thank you,
Representative
Chairman. Thank you,
Sparks.
Committee.
I'm going to hand the gavel now to Vice Chairman Vital. The last two items on the calendar are mine.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our next item committee is House Bill 1607, number 7 by Chairman Howell. Do we have a motion? We have a motion and a second. Mr. Chairman, explain your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the omnibus bill, the transportation omnibus bill for naming of highways and roads. I had to stop and look at it. We have a total of 39 on the list. Be glad to read all 39 of those amendments, as I said in sub, but or you can take my word for it. I do have the list. That's the bill, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do notice that we have a House amendment on that bill. That's, you have the tracking code?
That is number 15515. I believe that's where we rolled them all into one amendment.
Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Amendment moves forward with the bill. Any other questions or discussion about the bill itself? If not, we'll move forward with the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No? Move forward. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
And that has headed to finance. We also have number 8, House Bill 1608.
Motion on the bill.
We also have a amendment on that. What is your tracking code?
I believe that is 15528, and that's where we took all of the 30-some amendments, rolled it into one bill.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We move forward with that bill to your explanation. Thank you, sir.
This is the omnibus bill for transportation for the license plates, the specialty license plates. We have 32 total in all, and just appreciate a positive vote.
I hear a question on the bill. A second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Moved forward to finance also. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your hard work on both of those items, and appreciate it. I think as you drive across the state, it's always interesting to see the diversity of license plates we now have. So thank you.
Thank you. It's amazing the number of specialty license plates that we have, and they serve a good cause in that they fund the Tennessee Arts Commission, which does a great work. That's the end of our calendar committee, but if you allow me a minute of personal privilege, that is the last calendar for the 113th General Assembly, and I just want to express my gratitude to each one of you. We've done, the last 2 years, we've done some really good work. I'm very proud of the work we've done as a committee here in the last 2 years, beginning with last year with the Transportation Modernization Act. That was a heavy lift. You all were a part of that. Couldn't have not have done that, gotten it passed without you. I appreciate everybody on the committee. I appreciate our clerks, Gabby and Adam. Appreciate them. Appreciate our Sergeant at Arms, Mr. Reuben Sanders. Appreciate him so much. He's always there. Appreciate my assistant, of course. Sarah keeps me straight, and I mean that when I say that. She's really my right hand, and I appreciate her so much. And our intern, Camille. They do such good work, and appreciate Camille being here this year. Of course, this guy, Jeremy Maxwell, he's indispensable. Appreciate him so much, the research analyst. And of course, I have to say something about Joel Hayes, our attorney. He is amazing. He simply is amazing. Representative Whitson, you have something?
Again, I'm going to talk about you in a minute, Chairman, but I like to, while you mentioned Joel Hayes, our attorney, I just want to share with members of this committee what you may not know about Joel. Joel enlisted in the Army in 1998 after he graduated from the University of Georgia. And he spent his first 2 years at the Defense Language Institute studying Arabic, just in time for 9/11, okay? So Arabic. He spent his first few years with the 1st Cavalry Division. He did 6 months with the FBI and the Joint Terrorism Task Force. And after 9/11, he deployed to Kuwait for 6 months as a volunteer with the Special Operations Group, the 5th Special Forces. After his Kuwait deployment, Joel also spent 4 tours in Iraq with the 5th Special Forces Group. 2003 during the invasion, 2003, 2004 in Baghdad, 2004 later on in the Shia Triangle, 2005 and 2006 north of Baghdad. And then he finished his military service after 10 years at the Defense Language Institute as an instructor. It was during his 3rd tour that he met a young lady from Tennessee and decided to get married and come back home. And the GI Bill paid for his law school at the University of Tennessee. And, you know, one of the most humble, dedicated guys I've ever met since I've been up here. And Joel, I just want to tell you how proud I am of you, and I think everybody on this committee agrees. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman. It takes a Special Forces guy to keep me straight. And he has done an excellent job of that. I often have many, many questions, and he always has the answer, or at least guides me in the right direction. I failed to mention Ms. Kaylor Etherly. She's our archivist in the back. Thank you for the job that you do as well. Without objection, anyone? Oh, I thought you were finished.
No, I got to talk about you, Chairman. Chairman, we've been on transportation now, what, 6 years together? And I just want to tell you, Dan, your leadership, and it's just been incredible. And it's the finest I've ever seen. And that includes 26 years in the Army. You are a gentleman, and just, you know the bills that come before us, and you work through them with just grace, but also with just deep understanding. And Dan, I just want to tell you as a friend how much I appreciate your leadership, help to me on the subcommittee, and I will miss serving with you next year in some capacity. But anyway, your friendship will last forever.
Thank you, Sam. We're gonna miss Sam. We're gonna miss Sam. Sam is not only a partner, but he's also a friend. You don't forget those kinds of relationships. Thank you so much. Representative Sherrill.
Thank you, Chairman. Just a few words. I didn't get to say this other day in subcommittee. A good friend, Sam, Representative Sam Whit. He and I come in together in 2016, and we have grown together and worked together. And I can't say enough to say how much I appreciate him for what he does for us in our great state of Tennessee, and the service he done for us in the United States. We do appreciate Sam. And Sam and I, as we grew together, Sam represented Williamson County, which we joked about being the richest county. And I served at that time, don't have Grundy now, which is the poorest county. And, you know, we just had a good life and a good relationship, good working relationship. And Sam, we do appreciate you, and we will miss you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sam. Speaker Marsh.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say a few words about you also. I love being around you. I love your leadership. You're an honest fellow. You're very fair, and you've got a great voice. And you've done an excellent job. And
Well,
I've
thank
been
you,
proud to
Speaker.
be on your committee.
Thank you, Speaker. Appreciate that. Representative Towns.
Mr. Chairman, the members, it almost sounds as if we are as talking about you and other leader, which is like we're in a choir. We're singing off the same sheet music because it's a great song to sing as it relates to your leadership. And you know, it's everybody think they can lead, can't lead. Everybody think they're good looking, not good looking. They ain't pretty. Matter of fact, some people are ugly, okay? But the fact of it is, you've been a fantastic leader with us. Initially, when I got on transportation, I didn't think I was gonna like transportation. But I'll tell you, it's absolutely has been an educational journey for me. It's been a very, very necessary link in my chain of understanding just how critical and important it is. And you made even a difficult situation very, very easy. And behind your back, some of the members got together because of your voice, and we decided that we're not going to allow you to terminate the committee. We're going to transition this into a TV show called the, the transportation, show headed by you, sir, because that the way you handle it and your voice absolutely makes it easy to listen to all this complicated stuff at some time. So thanks for the joining us. Thanks for the leadership and the dedication to the state of Tennessee. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yes,
you're
sir.
you're all very kind. By the grace of God.
Only.
Any other questions? Without objection, we are adjourned, subject to the call of the chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.